I imagine that many priests begin their Ascension Sunday homily by saying, yeah, it's a tricky topic. The Ascension is when Jesus returns to heaven after a number of visits to his disciples and his friends after his resurrection. And we typically picture this by Jesus rising into the sky on a cloud. We didn't hear that in the gospel today because it was Mark, and he kept it short and to the point. I don't want us to worry about that too much today, the image of it all. I would rather have us spend today focusing on ascension as a spiritual concept. Most biblical commentators agree that the ascension is a sign from Jesus to his disciples, that his role as a Messiah will never end. He has ascended to the right hand of the Father where he intercedes for us. So Jesus is still with us, but in a different way. It's not like he could haunt the world, indefinitely. That would be a form of spiritual hand-holding. The disciples wouldn't grow on their own. Eventually, the training wheels need to come off. So that is the ascension in terms of the Jesus narrative. It is how Jesus experiences the ascension in the Bible. However, ascension as a general concept is very important for us as Catholics. Because ascension, after all, is a very easy word to translate. It means literally to rise up, to ascend to a new level or degree. So you could even say that you rise, you ascend to a new rank. I realize the word promotion is probably more common, but it would be a valid way to express that, to say that you ascend to a new rank. So here is the idea that I want you to get in your heads today. We ascend in levels of existence in our lives. Because when we start out, we are so simple and tiny, we don't even have sentient thought, at least for a little while. But before too much time has passed, we think, we feel, and we dream. We have proven that. We are people long before we are born. And after we are born, we continue to develop. We interact with our environment. We learn to waddle and then walk. We learn abstract concepts. We gain critical thinking skills. All of these things are ascension in life, and every step contains the promise, or at least the opportunity, for a richer, more rewarding phase in life. Now, all of that was biological. That's kind of straightforward. Sacramentally, we also ascend in life. We ascend to the status of disciples upon our baptism, and that is deepened with confirmation. When we welcome God into our minds and in our hearts, we ascend to a different level in life. The old level is still there, of course, but we gain the ability to see the world as more than a random collection or sequence of events. We start to see a higher order, even in our pain and in our suffering. Because if He's out there somewhere, then even our pain and suffering is not meaningless, not entirely. And finally, we ascend to something else when our lives here come to an end. Let me be clear. We do not stay here. This ball of rock we call the earth is not all there is. We do not regress to a simpler form of life. We do not stay in this life for all time as if we're vampires. We move on. We are called elsewhere. We ascend to Christ. Where exactly do we end up? The details are sparse. To quote St. John Vianney, someone asked him, "Father, what is heaven like?" And he said, "I don't know. I've never been there." But what we do know is that Christ will lose nothing that is given to him, and that includes all of us. And we also know that the pain and injustice of this world is left behind. Anything that has come to be as a result of sin is left behind, and we ascend beyond that. And part of the reason we have such a difficult time imagining what eternity with God is like is because we have never existed without sin. The very foundation of this world has been affected by sin. It affects the way we live our life and how we see the world. But that brings me to the last subtopic for today. Our belief in ascension, in something more, is really quite unique. Because you know what? The vast majority of people in this world, and I mean the vast majority, they believe in something. If it is not something religious or spiritual, they will still believe in something like progress or humanity or justice. That list is effectively endless. And the thing of it is, most of that list can be boiled down to valuing or caring about something that is visible, concrete, and knowable. That's not bad, of course, not by a long shot. We absolutely should care and value things like the environment and civil rights and all of those other causes. There is nothing wrong with that. The problem is, all of that will dry up if there is nothing to ascend to. If there is nothing higher than what we have right here, right now, then all is lost. Eventually, all will be lost and forgotten. That is how literally every story must end, if there is no room for God. And I am sharing this with you because I want you to appreciate how special you are, how special your faith is. You don't just care about a cause. You don't merely have a code of ethics or a lifestyle choice. Most people in the world have one or all of those things. You don't need a religion to have them. You believe that there is more to the world that surrounds us. And that means that we have a hope that is real and universal. And we hold on to that hope for others as surely as we do for ourselves. We have faith and hope that through the love of Christ we shall ascend to the Father's side in heaven. And in the end, somehow, everything is going to be okay. You won't get that hope from any other source. That hope belongs exclusively to the Holy Spirit. And Christ's ascension is what bears witness to exactly that hope.